Tesla just announced the Model 2 won't use lithium batteries. Instead, Musk is offering 3 breakthrough options: aluminum-ion, sodium-ion, and solid-state, each built for different American drivers. One charges in 4 minutes. Another survives minus 40 degrees Celsius winters. The third delivers 630-mile range. Which battery matches your needs? Let's dive right in. For 20 years, we've been told the same story. Lithium-ion is the future. Every Tesla, every EV on the road today, lithium. But here's what they don't tell you. That future comes with an $11,000 price tag for a 75 kilowatt-hour pack, batteries that catch fire, and range that drops 50% when it's cold outside. And now, Musk just threw that entire playbook out the window. The Model 2 isn't getting 1 battery option, it's getting 3, and none of them are lithium. This isn't about incremental improvement. This is Tesla betting its most important vehicle on chemistries most automakers won't touch for another decade. So, why now? And why 3 completely different technologies at once? Let's start with the battery that sounds impossible. Aluminum-ion technology promises something lithium has never delivered: 80% charge in 4 minutes. Not 25 minutes. Not 15 minutes. 4. Think about what that means for a second. You pull into a charging station, grab a coffee, walk back to your car, and you've just added 200 miles of range. That's faster than most people spend at a gas pump. But here's the catch everyone's missing. This battery only gives you 250 miles of total range. On paper, that sounds like a deal-breaker. Until you realize the average American drives 37 miles per day. That's nearly a full week between charges. Tesla knows something the rest of the industry doesn't. Range anxiety isn't about total miles. It's about charging time. Give people 250 miles that recharges in 4 minutes, and suddenly the psychology shifts. You're not worried about running out. You're not planning your route around chargers. You just drive. This is the battery Tesla will drop into the Model 2 standard range. It's aimed at city drivers in New York, Chicago, LA, places where parking spots are worth more than cars, where traffic turns a 10-mile commute into an hour, where fast matters more than far. The technology itself, aluminum-ion, uses aluminum as the anode instead of graphite. The ions are smaller, move faster, and the whole system runs cooler. Tesla's partnering with Graphene Manufacturing Group to scale production, building graphene-based electrodes that can handle the rapid charge cycles without degrading. Giga Nevada is already preparing pilot lines. Production could start in 10 to 12 months, putting aluminum-ion Model 2s on the road by summer 2026. Cost per kilowatt-hour? Around $50 to $70, which means the car could hit showrooms at $19,000 to $21,000 before incentives. But if you're thinking 250 miles isn't enough, Tesla saw you coming. This is the battery for people who refuse to compromise. Road trippers. Retirees planning cross-country adventures. Anyone who's ever looked at a 300-mile EV and thought, that's not enough. Solid-state batteries deliver 570 to 630 miles on a single charge. That's Los Angeles to the Grand Canyon without stopping. That's double what most EVs can do today. And it charges fully in 12 to 15 minutes, 55% faster than lithium. But here's what makes solid-state truly different: the electrolyte. In lithium batteries, the electrolyte is liquid, organic carbonate that evaporates, ignites, and explodes when things go wrong. Solid-state batteries use ceramic sulfide. It's solid. It doesn't melt until 400 degrees Celsius, a temperature you'd only hit if you drove into an active volcano. In other words, This battery physically cannot catch fire under normal conditions. Tesla's been testing ceramic sulfide solid electrolytes at Giga, Texas, and the results are reshaping how they think about vehicle design. Because solid state is solid, the battery casing can drop from 7 millimeters thick down to just 2 millimeters. That saved weight gets reinvested into the chassis, increasing structural stiffness by 15%, while keeping the Model 2 under 4 meters long. This is critical. The Model 2 needs to be compact to work in tight urban spaces, but it also needs to be safe, rigid, and long-range. Solid state solves all three problems simultaneously. But there's a downside. Solid state is the hardest to manufacture at scale. Tesla's using existing 4680 dry electrode production lines at Giga, Texas. The same tech powering the Cybertruck. But mass production for millions of vehicles? That's still 18 to 24 months away. Which means if you want a Model 2 in 2025, you're probably not getting solid state. You're getting option 3. Here's the battery nobody talks about. And that's a mistake. Sodium-ion doesn't have the fastest charging. It doesn't have the longest range. But it has something far more valuable. It works everywhere, in every condition, for decades. Let's start with temperature. Lithium-ion batteries lose 50% of their capacity when it gets cold. Drive a Tesla in Minnesota in January, and your 300-mile range becomes 150. Drive it in Arizona in July, and the battery management system throttles performance to prevent overheating. Sodium-ion doesn't care. It operates normally at -40 degrees Celsius and 60 degrees Celsius. The ions don't freeze. The electrolyte doesn't break down. Your range in Alaska is the same as your range in Phoenix. And then there's lifespan. Lithium-ion batteries degrade. After 4,000 to 5,000 charge cycles, roughly 8 to 10 years, they're done. You're looking at a $10,000 plus replacement cost. Sodium-ion batteries last 10,000 cycles. That's 18 to 20 years of use. By the time this battery degrades, the rest of your car will be falling apart. The range? 280 to 310 miles. The charging time? 17 minutes to full. Not the fastest, not the longest range, but more than enough for 99% of drivers, and it'll outlast any other battery on the market. But here's the real kicker. Sodium is everywhere. The U.S. extracts 42 million tons of salt per year, much of it right next to Giga, Texas. No supply chain issues, no dependence on Chinese lithium mines, no geopolitical risk. Production cost? $40 to $50 per kilowatt hour, 60% cheaper than lithium. That brings the Model 2's price down to $18,000 to $20,000 before incentives. Tesla's planning to manufacture sodium-ion cells at Giga, Texas, with production ramping up by late 2025 or early 2026. This is the battery that'll power the first wave of Model 2s, the 2 million units Musk promised by the end of next year. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. Lithium batteries explode. It doesn't happen often, but when it does, it's catastrophic. The liquid electrolyte in lithium cells starts breaking down at 120 degrees Celsius. By 150 degrees Celsius, it's releasing flammable gases, methane, hydrogen. At 180 degrees Celsius, the battery enters thermal runaway, reaching internal temperatures of 600 to 700 degrees Celsius. That's why every lithium pack needs a 70-kilogram cooling system. That's why Tesla engineers obsess over battery management software. That's why there's always a non-zero risk of fire. Now look at Tesla's 3 new batteries. Solid-state, ceramic electrolyte that doesn't melt below 400 degrees Celsius. Aluminum and sodium-ion. ionic liquid, or polymer gel electrolytes with boiling points at 300 degrees Celsius, twice as high as lithium's organic carbonate. To put that in perspective, 300 degrees Celsius is the melting point of tin. You're not reaching that temperature unless you're literally holding the battery over an open flame. Tesla's not just making these batteries safer, they're eliminating the entire category of risk that's haunted EVs since day one. But there's a trade-off. Liquid electrolytes, even high-temperature ones, still carry a 1 to 2% risk of leakage. When integrated into structural battery packs, that requires an extra 4 to 5 millimeters of leak-proof padding. It's more complex to manufacture than solid-state. That's why solid-state will eventually win in the premium long-range Model 2. But for now, sodium-ion's combination of safety, durability, and cost makes it the volume play. Here's what this is really about. China controls the lithium supply chain. They dominate mining, processing, and battery production. A $30 billion empire that every automaker depends on. Tesla's betting the Model 2 on 3 chemistries that bypass that dependency entirely. Aluminum is abundant and recyclable. Sodium is extracted from seawater and salt deposits. Solid-state reduces material use per kilowatt-hour. This isn't just about making a cheaper car. It's about making a car the US can actually produce at scale without relying on foreign supply chains. And the timing? Perfect. The Model 2 is supposed to hit the market in 2025 to 2026. Sodium-ion production is ready now. Aluminum-ion can scale within a year. Solid-state will ramp shortly after. Musk isn't waiting for the perfect battery. He's shipping 3 good-enough batteries that solve different problems for different customers, and all of them break the $25,000 barrier that's been impossible with lithium. That depends on who you are. City driver who barely leaves downtown? Aluminum-ion gives you 4-minute charging and a week between plug-ins. Road tripper who drives cross-country twice a year? Solid-state delivers 630 miles and eliminates range anxiety forever. Someone in Alaska, Arizona, or anywhere with brutal weather? Sodium-ion survives extreme temperatures and lasts 20 years. Tesla's not making you choose one. They're letting the market decide. And that's the most radical part of this entire strategy. Building 3 different battery supply chains simultaneously, while legacy automakers are still figuring out how to make one work. Here's what this means. Tesla just solved the impossible equation. For 2 decades, we were told affordable EVs required compromise. Less range, slower charging, or lithium's risks. Musk's answer? Stop compromising. Build 3 batteries, each optimized for real driving conditions, all under $25,000. This isn't just about one car. It's about breaking China's lithium stranglehold and proving America can manufacture millions of EVs without foreign supply chains. Sodium-ion production starts in months at Giga Texas. Aluminum-ion scales by summer 2026. Solid-state follows shortly after. And this is just the beginning. Once these batteries prove themselves in the Model 2, they'll cascade across Tesla's entire lineup. Then, the industry. The question isn't if legacy automakers will follow, but how fast they can catch up. So which battery would you trust in your driveway? The 4-minute urban sprinter, the 630-mile road warrior, or the 20-year survivor? Drop your pick in the comments. This is Tech Revolution, where we break down the innovations reshaping transportation. If you want the full story on how these batteries actually work, subscribe. We've covered each technology in depth. The EV race just entered a new phase, and you'll want to see what comes next. The future of driving isn't one battery. It's the right battery for how you live.